Hi everyone. We are starting the broadcast of day 15, the last day of the Perspective Studies study group, and I hope you've been enjoying so far. Today we'll try and bring together the threads of the conversation that we've been having all these days. Some of you have been part of it, some of you have been in and out, but that's okay. And so yesterday we had these questions in our hands. One was this thought that if everything else is equally unimportant, then it's possible to be ourselves. And we also had this thought that to learn, you must be able to switch perspectives. And the desire to learn more and to stay where you are, these two desires are also in conflict, right? So we had these three things in our hands yesterday, and today we'll actually try to take these things forward. We'll try to talk about these things more.
Can you really stay where you are?
You can't, but you can have that desire.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Get it.
you can want to bring everything to a still stop, but of course you can't do that because we are in a complex system.
Right.
And things will change on the
Right.
because of other reasons than ourselves.
Right. Even because of us, because we are also changing, right? We are in like constant transformation process. Though the change might be very little that your eyes can perceive, over the years, the change can be whatever apparent. But we are also part of the change, both at microscopic and macroscopic levels.
We might not always feel that time is able to change us. Of course, we change, but we might want to stubbornly stick to the thought that we are as we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, staying where you are might be possible
Right.
as an idea in your head. It might not really happen,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be an idea in your head that I'm exactly how I want to be, and I'm more important than the
Mm-hmm.
world.
Okay.
So the corollary of everything being equally important.
Okay.
The thing is, yesterday we saw everything being equally unimportant in the context of the other.
Right. Right.
But it's also applicable
Mm-hmm.
in the context of the self.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
if everything is equally unimportant, then I'm also not important.
To yourself?
I mean, even for myself, yes.
Okay. Okay.
That statement means that. So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't apply just on the other, it also applies to myself.
Okay. Do you think habit plays a role in staying where you are, or having things like unimportant, or how do you see habit playing a role in all of these things?
I mean, you can get habituated to a thought
Uh-huh.
And that thought can be the thought that I want to stay where I am.
Okay.
So I want to think that I'm able to control reality. So I'm able to be where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that thought might be addictive, and that addiction might become a habit.
Okay.
What do you say, Shreya? Are you able to hear us?
Yeah, yeah, I'm able. I was actually trying to piece my thoughts together. So if I've understood correctly, what you're talking about is inertia of a certain kind. And
Yeah, so inertia is a subject imposed context, so inertia not in the context of the world, because in the context of the world, of course you are not inert.
hmm. Yeah, no, I meant I meant it in terms of as in say inertia in the state of in inertia with regards to the state in which you are. So with if it's changing perspective, if you have a certain perspective, then holding on to that perspective might be a state of inertia. And another kind of state of inertia might be when you're shifting perspectives too often. So the state of changing perspectives becomes a sort of inertia. So you are not able to, so in this situation, you're not able to say hold on to one perspective for too long. And but my question is that that if you're changing, if we change our perspective, if you're open to changing our perspective a little too often, doesn't it also um, lead to a lack of um, uh, I mean, I'm thinking productivity. Like the word that's coming to my mind is productivity, but I don't want to say, like, I don't want to essentially mean productivity in the sense of, uh,
Doing
like in
stuff.
a very capitalistic sense. But I mean it in a yeah, doing stuff exactly. So if you're changing the way you perceive things way too often, how do you end up doing things? Because then it just becomes an intellectual exercise. And you might get caught in it without realizing it, but how do you eventually channelize it into doing things and yet maintain a healthy receptivity towards new perspectives? Hello?
Yeah.
Priya, so sorry, did you
Yeah,
hear
yeah,
me?
yeah. I can hear you. I was thinking about what you said. Uh, but I mean, I'm saying that staying where you are is always, it's a simulation of actually being able to remain as you are, right? So it's not a question of productivity, because I'm changing all the time.
Hmm.
I just think that I'm not changing.
But for me, the challenge is, I mean, this is again a very personal view of the way I perceive things. I'm self-conscious of the fact that I'm changing constantly and that my perspective is undergoing constant change. But I'm struggling with a different kind of challenge, which is to be able to do something with my perspective, meaning that sometimes, like, I mean, not just with regards to our work, but the perspectives that we start adopting starts affecting our lives at large as well, not just our work, right? So then how do you make it meaningful? How do you make it mean something? Like, I mean, it's one thing to say that I'm open to, new ways of thinking about things, but how does it begin to, how can you, uh, how can you make,
No, but what is the compulsion to find meaning?
Yeah.
what is the compulsion to find meaning? But then how do you make sense of what you're doing? Say, for instance, at any given point
Right.
of time.
I mean, but what I'm saying is making sense of what we are doing is
Yeah.
not important to do.
But in order to do things, don't you have to make sense of?
I mean, it's not a necessary condition, right? So I might not make sense of what I'm doing in life, but I might still be able to do it.
Yeah, but what if you're not able to do? I mean, what if I'm not able to do something because I'm not, because I'm constantly shifting, because my perspective undergoes constant shifts.
But that's okay because but I'm saying that you can, right? So you don't your capacity to do anything doesn't depend on your making sense of it.
But what if it gets connected somehow and entangled in such a way that you can't, that you can't do something without making sense of it? Or meaning that I understand what you're saying. I understand that you're saying that you can do something even if you are not able to make meaning of what you're doing. But I'm saying that what if it gets entangled in such a way that you can't? Then how does the then how do you untangle the?
So Shreya, are you talking of something like a maker's block analogous to a writer's block, where you have so many thoughts which actually paralyzes you of even doing something? Is that what you're talking about?
That is a specific, yeah, that is a specific example, but I mean I was talking even generally, as in
Yeah. I
say,
mean, I took writer's block
No,
because
but
I found it as an analogy.
that's an interesting categorization by Uttam. But
Mhm.
Inder, what do you Inder, can you hear us?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So,
Okay.
Inder, what do you think about this capacity to not do what we can do?
Hmm. Yeah.
Do you think we cannot do what we can do?
I think it is there's a huge you know every time we think something things start getting differently than what we were expecting. Definitely it's basically it's opening always and opening another door which was not in perspective before. I'm basically looking at another website. Uh, how basically we basically start somewhere else. Let us say there's a questions asked in epistemology. I think fundamentally, if you just give me this, you know, it can be read like a poem, but these are basically questions asked in epistemology. You see, if I think it like that, the questions can become like a poem, like this. What can we know? How can we know it? Why do we know something but not others? How do we acquire knowledge? Is knowledge possible? Can knowledge be certain? How can we differentiate truth from falsehood? Why do we believe certain claims and not others? Look, these are basically simple questions which one should read like prose. But if these sometimes if you distract the listener or the self by going somewhere else, maybe something else comes out of it. And I don't know how
Yeah,
you can.
but what do you think? Do you think it's possible to not be able to do what you want to do? I mean, do you think something like a writer's block, do you think something like a writer's block is possible?
It is possible, but the problem is that after all the possibilities, our our unpredictability factor begins when we exhaust our all possibilities. Basically. So if one has some idea of X number of things which one can do, but that necessarily you may not do or do. But the point here is precisely that the moment we open up things, the moment when we actually operate, both practically and physically and psychologically and to all dimensions of what we are made up of, then something new can operate upon us. That cannot be known before. That is basically the trick of it. So for me, the possibility is not comes with a full stop, and neither the impossibility comes with a full stop. Do I make sense? Hi, hello.
Yeah, you were saying that it doesn't come to a full stop.
I am saying that neither the possibility comes with a full stop, neither impossibility comes with a full stop.
Right, right.
Since we cannot, at any point of time, the present of us, all of us, is such that the moment it begins to operate anything, something new happens, which cannot be predicted. And if it is predictable, then it cannot be about that impossibility zone. And if it is,
right. So you are saying that what happens happens now, and we don't know whether it happens because we cause it or it happens on its own. That's what you're saying, right?
there can be some amalgamation of both. It's not that we can have a clear clear perception of our approach to the subject, because all the clear perceptions will lead us to, again, either to possibility or to the impossibility. But I think that every time we are moving ahead with both the factors. For example, let us say a boy goes to meet a girl. He's always going with both the perspectives in mind. She may accept or she may not accept. But what actually happens is not very clear. There's a haze, basically, kind of a haze.
So we live behind this haze.
But sorry, can I take the liberty to interrupt and ask a question at this point? Yeah. So I'm just taking the same example that you just took. Say a boy is going to meet a girl, and he has both the possibilities in his mind, which is say if he's going to propose to her, say her accepting and her not accepting. So he has both these possibilities in mind. So in that case, what my question is that what if this these two possibilities, these two mutually exhaustive possibilities, lead him to inaction. So I'm saying that he is not completely sure and he is not completely unsure. But what if the coexistence of these two opposing, conflicting outcomes of his action actually leads him to inaction?
Yeah. Yes. If it leads to inaction, then some other field operates. Then it can be something else. Let us say the person goes in election. He actually is distracted by something else, or he is not. He is self-doubt or something like that. But something else will happen. So it was very an easy example. My only point to stress is here. That's why I sang this little questions here, because the moment we approach the subject or the question even in a very funny way, basically, either we are taking ourselves too seriously. That's actually is everything important. If we are taking ourselves too seriously, then definitely we cannot sing a song from the fundamental. Let us say we.
Actually, I see inaction that we're talking about in two different viewpoints. One inaction is just like the conflict of ideas or the writer's block that we just spoke a couple of minutes ago, and the second one is like the inaction due to the origination of some other emotion. Like, say for example, when you said like when a boy goes to meet a girl or propose her, so the inaction is actually because of the fear of failure. So the fear is something which dominated or it influenced his actions. So that's where I see the inaction came from. So I think if there is some external influence on your thoughts, that can also lead you to inaction.
What if you just cannot see the meaning in what you're doing? So it's not external, but it's internal. And I want to thank Shreya for bringing up this question.
Yeah, I mean, it can be both internal and external. I mean, I'm just saying that if there is some additional influence on like your actions, that might lead to inaction.
Yeah, but after we spoke about what Shreya asked, so if you don't make sense of what you do, then what?
Mm-hmm.
And then we responded that it's not important
Oh,
to make sense of what you do,
Right,
to do it.
right.
sorry, my connection is
So,
lost.
which is what I would like to come back to.
Okay.
So before what Inder is saying, before something becomes possible or impossible, before you think that thought, अरे ये
Mm-hmm.
होगा या नहीं, so when you think, before you toss the coin, either heads or tails, before that, you can do it. Before that, you can do it.
Right, right.
So follow the Nike philosophy, na? Just do it.
Right, and in a very practical way,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that if you are self-conscious during the creative act,
Right.
I mean, the reason I don't believe in the writer's block idea
Mm-hmm.
is that I think immediacy is not left to somebody's whim. It's not. It can't be somebody's whim.
Right, right.
If we are basically present, then
Mm-hmm.
we have a choice. I mean, it's possible to learn how to be immediate.
Right, that's the key. Because that is also something, because by nature some people could be self-conscious, and that might be the first instinct that they have, but you could probably study the instinct of being immediate and then practice it.
Yeah, and when you're immediate, it doesn't matter if you can make sense of what you do or not.
Yeah, because you've taken a path, you are on the road.
Right. So, I mean, I'm talking, so I'm saying that to the question that what if you don't make sense of what you do, I would say, then it's worth trying to learn how to be immediate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add something here?
Please.
Good, good. Uh, I think just coming back this term. I was reading a proposal which was in Belgium, basically. Does it matter? So so far, we have been taking ourselves too seriously. Let us say that human being is the center of whole universe. Let us say like that. So and our all perspectives actually starts to begin to emerge from that perspective, that human being everywhere. So, but then post these prototypes of the contemporary performing arts, if I may say, about the body, then a term is thrown up by the proposal. They call composite bodies. In the composite bodies, they're saying that if we little bit take a distance from the body as an outline, so that we don't take ourselves too seriously, and to add new perspective to the body, whether it is technological or environmental or other or collectives or communities or other factors in our life. Uh, Definitely the burden which we actually share on our shoulders, that I have to decide to do something, I have to decide something, then some perspectives might shift if we take this composite body into the perspective here.
But in that case, doesn't it lead to a confusion of about your sense of self or identity? Or I mean, I'm not saying that all of this is written in stone, but I'm saying
No, you have got rightly, yes, yes, dear. Actually, I just wanted to listen this reflection from you. Basically, it is a challenge to our identity. Whether we go to Judith Butler's feminist perspective, or whether you go to the any philosophical idea of the being, where the identities at the ground level need to be challenged. I'm not saying that what's happening on the ground is all trivial. But for a philosophical reasoning, if we want some growth, subjectivity has to be understood at a very sharper level. For that, if we have then the composite body might.
Hello?
Are you
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you. Missed out.
Yeah,
there is
please.
some, okay, and this post-human prototype. I'm saying the composite body as a post-human. This is what actually struck me. This term that the post-human. That's where this identity and individuality thing is little bit problem. Right now we are here a group. It is not about the individual thing. It is group activity. The group activity doesn't mean always that it is an idea of an many individuals coming the same. We are always, even if we are alone in a room, there is something, some group activities even happening then. The nothingness is not made up of nothingness. It has some material. The silence is not made up of the silence. John Burrill. Even then, you in your silence you hear some heartbeat. There is nothing absolutely emptiness or absolutely individual thing. There is no individual as such. So if we just little bit dilute the edges of the individual and see that we are merging in a rhizomatic way, then we might feel that this perspectives can be shifting or they may be shifting from different angles beyond our capacity even to count them. Too many things are happening right now. Too many things are happening right now. That's my point. Even the dark is barking here.
But before your identity has taken form, right? So in the sense, every moment that we are the same person, we have to remember who we are, like in the sense of our identity. So it's possible to sometimes see someone but not remember the name.
Yes. I'm impressed by the Judith Butler's performativity idea. What she is basically describing in performativity, she is saying that we are in a habit of recycling our patterns of life. That's what is circulating gender even, what is circulating identity even at a very minute level. So it is very much possible, as per the Judith Butler, that we can become any other thing also, whether gender or whether identity. We can, if I'm a Hindu, I can become Muslim. If I am male, I can become woman. I can, beyond the biological territories, one can cross over to other territories. That is possible because we are constantly circulating some things. If we are wittingly circulating the things, then we know we are in control of something. If unwittingly we are doing some habits, then we are definitely stuck in the identity pattern. So for me, there is a possibility of change. If we undermine the habits, if we undermine that what is given to us, that's why the human being as a, there's a term called in Urdu that's called Ashraful Makhlukat. It means that we are basically the most important thing happened on the planet of Earth is human being. If we dilute that,
I'm saying before the formation of the identity, in the sense, before you remember who you are, before the memory of identity, you are present, right? So being happens before being someone.
Yeah, essential what you call.
Yeah, so identity is only an extension of presence.
Exactly. That's precisely who I was.
So if it's so before you remember who you are, why does identity matter?
No, identity matters because we cannot actually remain indifferent to the political outbursts, which actually yearn for some change, carrying that identity baggage as something as a weapon. But that is only one surface of that struggle. Let us say Palestinians are struggling somewhere. They are having some identity, whether they are Muslim identities or they are fighting for some territory. But their right to fight a war on the basis of their identity is very much existential, because that has gone deep into their bone marrow. And if the identity goes, because that's why the feminist discourses are becoming very important, because the womanhood of a person has gone deep into her. That's why she asserts her womanhood and becomes a woman, and she struggles.
Right.
to overcome.
When who you are starts affecting your life or death,
Definitely.
then you can't forget it.
Yeah, in a Sartrean sense, there is no freedom basically. But what we are struggling, we are struggling in a very bizarre way. That there are paradoxes. There may not be freedom for us to go too far, but we don't have any choice but to struggle, but to fight, but to kill, but to be happy, but to celebrate, but to assert ourselves. There is no choice for us. If we cannot be mute, because
No,
the politics.
but what we are uh, speaking up about, so what we are not being silent about, how do we know that it's the same thing for you as it is for me, right? So you might be speaking up about something else in your head, and I might be speaking up about something else. So the idea of collectivism is something that confuses me. I don't understand how it's possible for two people to agree.
Okay, agree. I understand it. I understand because yeah, of course the subject is very dense. All I'm trying to articulate here is that even if existentially when we see we exist, the identity is extension, as you were rightly saying. The identity is extension. But that extension, extended limb, starts affecting our being also. That is that's where your question is coming up. But that is where political also is located.
So I
No,
want to
Is
tie
it?
this back. I'm sorry, I want to tie this back to what we were talking about. Doing just the immediacy, practicing immediacy. And what I'm hearing from what Inder Salim is saying is that you can make a choice. If you're stuck, you can make a choice of first figuring out who you are and then finding who the self is. And the second thing that can be done is to take a deliberate step, which you may not have done earlier. So do something different from your habit. So I was trying to tie this back to,
Yeah.
inaction.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's necessary to hold on to the political in terms of your presence. So if I might uh, not remember what the date is today, right? So if I'm present in an entirely different century, then I mean it's possible. So I can just say that I'm in some other time, and then immediately all the political just goes poof in the air. Is
Why
that
are
not
you?
possible?
I think the political. Can you hear me, Prayas? Sorry.
Yeah. It's yeah. There's a lot of noise. I'll just increase the
Yeah,
volume.
I'm
Yeah.
in transit. Sorry. I mean, I'll try to be as
Yeah.
clear as
Yeah.
possible.
Please can.
I
Yeah.
think the political comes with intent for it to unfold in a particular manner, right? We can
Right.
all be, but we all look at consequences and we want it to unfold to our benefit or whatever the case might be. That's where the political comes from. My question here is, what is this obsession with doing? Why can't we just be? With doing comes, okay, what is right, what is wrong, and how it unfolds. We may be in control of it. It may not be in our hands, regardless of our preparation or whether we are present in the moment. So I think problem comes with doing. Secondly, how it unfolds and our intention as to what the end ought to be like is where the political comes from.
So what
Right.
does it mean to be? What does it mean to be?
That's subjective, isn't it? I mean, I can't have a general definition of okay, what is it like to be me or somebody else?
No,
That's for one to decide.
I mean, is it are doing and being opposites?
Uh,
I don't think
well,
so.
one can be doing nothing. Merely being is doing, I would think.
No, but if what if your idea of being involves
Yeah,
doing by default?
exactly. Yeah, compulsion.
Then you're politically bent.
No,
Not necessarily. Not like Prayas said, if you put yourself in a different time and place and forgot about the present, then the politics doesn't matter anymore. You just want to do something, but you have no clue what to do, or you don't know how to do it. Then what do you do?
So it's an active choice of not getting into action as such, because it leads to politics and it leads to confusion, disappointment.
But what we are asking is, how do you know what is action? Like, you know, just for the body just to be alive is an action. You know, a lot of organs have to. Yeah, breathing is an action, right? So just being alive is doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And breathing is automatic if you're alive.
But it may not be enough for everybody.
Yeah. But I'm saying we can make the notion of doing universal. We can consider it in a universal way because everyone is doing something.
Yeah.
That's a given, yes. Those are the conditions set.
So being is doing.
Being is doing. Yeah.
Would you agree, Inder?
No, I see. I'm basically that's why we have to scratch a little bit deeper, because for example, let us say somebody says that I am a being. It is enough to be rather than to do. So actually, what happens is when a critical moment comes, let us say somebody is hungry, suddenly you need some food. Then the moment you want, because that's where the existentially you are challenged, and then the moment you go out and you start looking for food, then you encounter some other reality. That's why the political actually begins when you are inside the room. But even if you consider that the political begins the moment you go on the street, so it's your being to be is challenged. So you do something. So
No, but I'm saying that the political that happens for you and the
be out of the room.
No, please, please continue. You were saying something.
Sorry.
No,
Right.
please.
Well, you don't have to be out of the room to be political. Are you talking to me, Prayas? You don't have to be out of the room to be political. Your choices can make you political. Your bias can make you political. I mean, thought can make you political.
It's not a conscious thing.
It has nothing to do with action, really. Choices make you political.
No. I mean, little bit. I just one small point here. I mean, the political doesn't mean that we're politically alive or dead. No, I'm saying even doing a drawing on the paper will make you political, because even the abstract approach to life, or your conditioning, or when it is spilled over on the outside in the friend circle, even your political position is actually articulated there. It is not only whether you vote for BJP or Congress, or that's not the only political thing. Even an anarchist position is a political thing. So even let us say even somebody is an anarchist, but even when it is challenged, when things start hitting you somewhere, then you will know why you stand.
Stance.
No, but I think I would even go somewhere beyond stance. So for example,
are you saying stance is political? So you have a say, not say, but an opinion, and you're political all of a sudden.
Yeah, but even
Hello.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying that even before
political is also political.
Right, but even before your but I'm saying that if your experience at the level of what's happening in your head, your mental experience, if that is in conflict with the idea of mental experience of the world, right, of the world out there. So basically, if I'm psychotic, right, and if I've experienced the world in a way that is not okay to experience, right, then my politics just remains focused on the interface of experience. So whether you support Modi or you don't, if I'm psychotic, you basically believe that I should go see a psychiatrist and get fixed. So basically, for me, everyone sane and everyone imposing sanity on me is not okay.
Well, yeah, I could say Modi is psychotic. In a lot of people's eyes, he would be psychotic too. So what is psychotic? We ought to be clear about. It's a very loosely used term these days.
Right. But I wouldn't want to define the word psychotic. That would be too much. In a sense, because it's always the self and the negative space of the self, right?
Yes.
So the other is always defined in terms of yourself. So I don't know if we can arrive at a common understanding of what psychosis is.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a political word.
Yeah, it's I think whatever you are not allowed to be.
Whatever is socially not acceptable.
Yeah, and which is still essential for you.
Well, it's in our nature. I very strongly believe, regardless of whether people are at an asylum, we're all on the same plane and we are all capable of being that, right? This whole spectrum of emotions that one is
Right.
capable of, we can all get there, but it takes the right or the wrong circumstance to put us there. Perhaps we are fortunate.
Yeah, so crime doesn't really make sense.
Able to reflect on. Sorry?
Yeah, there are too many factors which decide where a person, the power structures, there are too many factors which decide what puts a person on which side of the bars. There are, it's all random. It could be very well luck. It could be where you were born. There are too many factors. I mean, you can't say that one is here because of this.
Well, Satya, now it's kind of easy, Capitalism has made it very easy.
Yeah.
To decide who's insane and who's sane. Really.
Yeah. I mean, if you subscribe to that, yeah, sure, why not?
No, but how has capitalism made it easy?
Because if you have a lot of money in the bank, you'd probably be called an eccentric and not insane.
No.
Really.
I mean, psychosis is a categorizable term in the sense that it's not. I don't mean the slang notion of it. I mean the clinical notion of it.
So psychosis is basically someone who doesn't behave in the conventional sense of the term, straightforward answers and a retort to a question.
No, I'm saying that if you go and get your blood pressure checked, at which point will the doctor think that you are crazy and not?
I think there's a distinction here between the clinical term psychosis and the behavioral term that we are trying. Maybe we should use another word for it.
Yeah, which word?
Pagal.
I hope you're not digressing here.
No, there's I remember just that. Can I just add?
Yeah, please.
Okay. There is Aga Shahid Ali actually used this couplet by it's a 150-year-old Momin Khan Momin's couplet. He's saying, "तुम मेरे किसी तरह न हुए, तुम मेरे किसी तरह न हुए, वरना दुनिया में क्या नहीं होता." So this is actually about the other. But how what could not have happened in the world if I had been able to understand you or be you, or if we could have done together something. But this is basically a paradoxical situation here, that we can call Modi psychotic, and he can call the other side of kind of me that he's a pagal insan. So the point here is basically that how much we are challenged. That's why the politics of aesthetics, if I'm understanding this whole thing through the art perspective, that the politics of aesthetics by Rancière was basically about articulating this thing, that what is happening on the ground without representation. Now the problem with the representation here is that we get a shortcut to what is happening to the desire, to the sound is coming now. Yes, there is a sound.
Yeah, please.
Oh,
I think Neo Paradox is on the road.
Yeah, that's actually good. The sounds are coming in between. So,
Yeah.
No, I'm back home now.
Yeah, great,
I'm back home now.
great,
Much better.
wonderful.
Go on,
Yeah,
Darji.
please continue in there.
yeah, so I think even if we boil it down to the representation of image or representation of us in a collective way, whether you are Hindu or a Muslim or whatever perspectives are there, but we have a representation even in the political way. But
No, but before your social presence.
yeah, I'm coming to your before representation of the thing, there is something. There is this existential core, which is our basis, our seat of existence, basically. And from where we're hinged to that, so that we understand how to move beyond what we are told to move in a particular way. That's why the political must be there, and also that's why the creative outburst must be blocked there. If there is at all some creativity, what it is, if it is not stored in our existential being, and definitely the material, the details which are manifested around us and which constitute us, and help us to bring about another self from ourself, another being from our being. So somehow we are not content with what we have. That's why the basic discussion happens. That if we were content with what we have, we will not move. We have this contentment that we will just strive, this struggle, and this discontentment will come only when we are pushed to the corner. If we are pushed to the corner, if we are challenged, then we will know our potential, how much we can do. Right now, if I am not challenged, I don't know how much I can do. I don't know my potential. I don't know my powers even. So I need some.
No, but does not knowing about my powers have anything to do with my powers?
Not the power, even the potential also. If I am not challenged, if there is no other, I am not challenged even, and I don't know even then my potential. I don't know even. So there is definitely the other. The relevance of other is there. They definitely is there. How can one be without the other? I don't know.
No, but we were talking of the idea of immediacy now. So in the sense, what you can be by default. You open your eyes and you are someone. Before you remember anyone else, or before you even remember yourself.
Okay.
You are a bunch of memories. That's who we are.
Right. So we are a bunch of memories, and before we can remember those memories.
Yes. You're right. You're right.
Right.
So in that moment of immediacy, can we focus on that moment? Can we focus on just look at that word for some time? Can we just think about what it means?
Immediacy has something again to do that if we create some situation for us, or we put ourselves in a situation, or we realize that we are in a situation where the other is there or not, but the immediacy cannot be realized in absence of
the other.
Because that's why the composite being is very much important, the term.
No, but it depends on which other you're encountering, right? You might find yourself in one way in the presence of one other, but with a different other, you may be somebody else. So I feel like immediacy is even before that.
No,
It was always other.
the,
That's why there is no idea of individual here.
Yes.
but it's ever changing, so it's not the
Yeah.
same. Doesn't
I'm
matter.
saying it is ever changing. But is there something even before the ever changing?
Right.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we are. That's what we want to look at, because.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's what I'm trying to say.
right. So
Well,
before you are a mirror. Before you are a mirror for the other. You are still a mirror.
Tell you what, now there is only the moment, right? Only the moment happens. Now, what is this us or me or identity or ego or self that we refer to? It's basically accumulated experience, memory that you want to carry with you to prepare yourself for the moment. It has nothing to do with identity so far. And what
Because
can
of the
help you
memory. I
prepare
mean, we
for the
were.
moment?
Yeah, we
Memory,
were
there
talking
is
about them as
character,
memories.
there is planning and intentional sort of. You tend to do certain things as you planned in advance. There are a lot of
No,
things that goes
but
on, but it's basically to prepare you for the moment, and that's identity or something. But
yeah,
we sort of
no, we were talking of the identity as a set of memories.
also identity can also be character, which is not necessarily.
No, but all of that is memories. All of that is memories. As far as identity and character is concerned, I don't think there is a difference.
Prayas, what
There
about
is
tendencies? What about
no,
tendencies?
even if you have tendencies and you have not been allowed to exercise them, then that doesn't become part of your identity, right?
But it will automatically influence the way you behave in a given moment, regardless of how you think. Because
No, but that takes us back
forces
to.
would lead you to.
No, but that takes us back to talking of instinct and voice.
Genes, tendency, and voice. Okay.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But we had already collapsed the two poles into the idea of the self.
Yeah.
Or did we?
Yeah, we were already talking about the idea of the self as an envelope for the instinct and voice both.
Right, we did. Yes.
So if instinct is not in question, then tendency is basically an instinct. So then we can talk about we can just talk about identity as memories, because the self is a memory. That's what we also spoke about.
Yes.
Right.
So is the question that the self, which is a collection of memories, possible without the presence of the other? Or is there something that happens before even the presence of the other? Is that the question?
Right. I mean, I'm saying that if identity is a set of memories, and before you remember, I mean that moment of immediacy that you talked about.
Yeah.
Right.
What is that moment of immediacy in terms of, if you just look at that moment for some time and we just, I mean, being immediate is going to be a good place to also conclude these 15 days, in the sense, immediacy is what is one of the core ideas of surfacial, right? In the sense that, the surface is the neglected entity.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's all surface. Sorry.
Can I
It's
add
all
something here about surface?
Yeah, please.
Two things actually, because my connection was lost somewhere. So two things come to my mind. One is a very interesting quote by Paul Cézanne.
You're breaking in there. I can't hear you. I don't know.
You hear me now?
The rest.
Yeah, we can hear you. I think your connection might be.
Yeah. So,
Okay. Sorry, I'll shut up.
two things, two perspectives are here. One is a Hegelian thing.
Is someone getting shot out there? Hope you're safe.
I think they're on a different time zone. They're celebrating Diwali.
Sound like gunshots to me.
Yeah, no, somebody's bursting crackers.
All right. That's fine.
It might just go on for a few seconds. I'm sorry.
So the person here, can you hear? Okay.
Yeah, Inder, please continue. Inder, you were saying something and then you got cut off.
Hegelian philosophy.
Yeah. Inder, are you here? Can you hear us?
Oh my God, have you lost Inder?
No, Inder is here. I think he'll come back.
Yeah,
he lost connection.
He left the call. He's back. Hello, Inder, can you hear us? Inderji.
Yeah, but if you go back to, I guess we can go back to what you were talking about before Inder started speaking, and it's also the last few minutes, so I would also like to hold on to that actually. But because the moment of immediacy is such a thing for me to want to talk about is, because the next study group is going to be on refractive surfaces. And refraction is something that happens as an optical process and not as an intellectual or as a conceptual process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at a surface,
it's a passive act, yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at a surface, what you understand from, what vision bounces back to you, is going to depend on the refractive properties of that surface.
Reflective or refractive?
Refractive. So how it bounces light.
That is reflection, right? Refractive is how light gets bent when it moves from one transparent medium to the other.
Yeah, but its refraction determines its reflection.
No.
Prayas, my connection was lost. Do you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, sorry, my connection, something is wrong here. So about the surface, basically, Paul Cézanne was talking about the surface, because about the reflection of surface, that people are interested in the depth. If we talk about the perspective, because he said that the moment he paints the surface, and if he's putting the blue dense color in the painting, he wants to give a feel of the air. Basically, he's painting air. When he's painting blue, he's painting air in the painting to actually take away the gaze from the idea of depth back to the surface. That is where one can take departures from our routine patterns of looking at things. That's one area. The other, he was talking about the Hegel and the memory and the immediacy. Hegel actually coming back the quote that the substance is subject. The moment everything we look on things, they come to us not only as objects but as subjects also. So there is a subject-object merger somewhere happening constantly in front of our eyes, and we are unable to touch an object as an object or subject as a subject. There's a constantly throwing up the confusion of what is object, because the subject is always there on each and every cell of it. But in the nature, that's why there's one animal called Polyapus. I mean, you have seen it. How the nature actually remembers certain parts of it. Not as the way we want to have an evolution of things where things are changing because the nature actually changes. This particular animal has features of all the animals. He's like somewhere like a duck, somewhere like a tortoise, somewhere like a seagull. So how nature also does things which we don't know actually much about. Because
Uttam, I would like to respond to how the reflection depends on the refraction. Because if you look at, if you take transparent glass and if you put some light on it, most of the light is going to pass through it.
Right.
So what bounces back will be a fraction of what would bounce back to you from a shiny surface, opaque surface.
Right. Right.
So, you know, because light has already leaked through the surface into the background of the surface, if it's passed through, so not too much can reflect back.
Right.
So when you look at a refractive surface, you're looking at a surface that is reflecting the most potent source of light. So in that sense, which is offering maximum refraction, maximum reflection, minimum refraction.
Right.
So that is a very, yeah.
Actually, I feel refraction is something which happens when there is when light moves between two mediums, you know, like true transparent mediums like air and water or water and air. But for reflection to happen, it need not switch between mediums. It can just happen at the surface of a very reflective whatever medium, you know.
True.
Yeah.
That's correct. But in the sense, yeah, I used a shorthand. So what I'm saying is there is always an invisible layer, right? So when light is reflecting back to you, it is again going to refract through your eyes, because you know our eyes are not hollow; it's liquid.
Right. Yeah, definitely it happens.
So whatever reflects.
Does it bend? Is that refraction?
Yeah.
I mean that's one of the possibilities.
Okay.
So, you know, so refractive surface is also a surface through which you understand the most.
Okay, in that sense, I agree. Like, yeah.
So you understand the refraction the most. So the next, so you know, I was just introducing the refractive surface as the as you know the next obsession, and the refractive surface has something to do with immediacy in the sense that if you understand which surface is most refractive for you as an experience, rather than the surface that is the most refractive as told to you.
Okay.
You know, so in the sense like art, right? So you can be told that you know this work is very refractive in the sense, you know, it's very good. So if you look at it, you will understand something profound from it, right? So in the sense that refraction will happen in a very powerful way if you let the light which falls on your retina, if you let that light speak. But if you actually experience the art which you're told to look at, it might not do anything for you.
Right.
So you hold on to it as an idea.
Right.
This sounds like, again, finding the voice, finding the self, doing your own exploration.
Right. So I mean, when you spoke of the need to switch yesterday as a need to explore, I wanted to add to it that why do you want to explore, right? You want to explore because you want to learn. And why do you want to learn? You want to learn because you actually want to
expand your horizon.
Right. You want to be able to tell. You want to be able to speak from your immediate experience of a refractive surface and not need to listen.
So it's like finding the voice, searching for the voice, and then yeah.
And so you're searching for the voice so that you can negate the voice that is falling on your ears. You know, the external voice.
Right.
Well, I think the voice is always there. We're just looking for fodder, you know.
No, not really. I don't think so.
Ingredients.
You have to find your voice.
one has a voice. You just have to
No,
have
you might
material.
not be, of course, the voice is always there, but you might not be tuned to it.
And you may not know how to speak.
Yeah, I mean, something has to break for you to be able to hear.
You may not want to speak sometimes. And
Right,
then
you don't just speak to kill the silence. I mean, obviously, if you have
some
something,
people
if you've
do,
tapped
but
into something, if you have tapped into something and it needs to be conveyed, you open your mouth and you break the silence. But
No,
you
but
always have a voice. I come
if
from
you
this
know how to be immediate,
school of thought. Right,
if you know how to be immediate, you
immediate,
know how to let your voice speak.
yeah,
it's
So
almost
you are not
effortless, like
speaking for
breathing.
your voice.
yep. Yeah, like you said, new paradox, it is like breathing. You speak.
Right.
Yeah, you speak. It's effortless almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what Inder was saying, that it's not effortless, that there is still something to be done, and that something to be done is the idea of being political.
Right. You
Right.
desire a certain
Inder voice
end.
secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost my connection in between, so I'm just actually not connected to the thread. But anyway, to idea of immediacy. It's very nice that one can be silent. You know, it's not necessary to one should actually speak every time about the immediacy. But it comes roughly about that it is self-realization. You know, who you are, kind of thing. That you know you are, and you have a confidence of knowing that even if you are mute, but you know you are mute. If you are doing some action, you know you are doing action. That kind of competence doesn't need necessarily to be clever. You know, one doesn't need to be clever to to give the realization of this movement or immediacy to the other. It's about oneself. That is one idea of immediacy. The second thing is about the political, assertion. So the immediacy has to basically be understanding on who we are. That will only come if we think that we are not only individual, which is limited to the outline of the body structure. Because our the garment which we wear is also part of our being. The room which we live is also part of our being, and the road which we are living. You know, it is actually endless. So in that sense, the political
No,
can be understood.
but Inder, at one side is the endless, and
Yeah.
the other side is the end.
No, there's no end. Actually, I'm afraid, because that's why the beginning is that the human being is not the core. We are not the center of universe. This is basically the growth is rhizomatic. Now we are actually growing strangely. Our thoughts also erupt spontaneously. We meet suddenly someone. Suddenly there's a bell, and the newspaper wala comes, and we have a dialogue with him. We go out and we meet some accident. I mean, constantly something is happening beyond
It's
our control.
unpredictable. Correct.
No, it is both things are there, but if wherever we know that we are here, and if that thing is giving us some confidence or idea of like Oscar Wilde is saying that every one of us is in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. You know, basically if we know that even if my existence is in a very bad shape physically, but if my spirits are little bit higher, or if I have pushed my if I'm pushing my existential pedestal to a little bit higher level, then I know I am challenging my stagnation quotient also, and also I'm going closer to the other, because without the other there is no possibility of understanding unpredictable, because the
Right.
unpredictability factor will only come if we have constant idea that my body is not the end of the universe. You know, there is
Right.
always something.
But so Shreya, Uttam, Siddharth, would you like to add something to this? I'm not sure if you are able to speak, or your mics are working, or
Yeah, mics are working, but actually I'm finding it hard to wrap my head around immediacy and like what Inder was saying about being like part of ourselves, and I don't know, I'm a little confused at this moment.
What was today's question again?
You know, we were talking about switching. We were talking about
The other.
being able to switch. No, other was yesterday.
Switching to what?
Switching to other frames, and
Other, yeah.
yeah, and today we started talking about how that being able to switch is being able to be immediate, right? So how immediacy is about being able to switch frames of understanding, of perspective, of you know, your frames essentially.
Right.
And immediacy is also something that we are able to connect to the idea of the refractive surface. So that's a connection.
But Prayas, what I understood of what you were saying about finding the right refractive surface for yourself is that is primarily by trial and error, right? I mean, that's the process that you're sort of endorsing to figure out your own voice and to find
Right.
the
I mean, for me, that is a very political process as well as what Inder is referring to, in the sense that, you know, art has to be rescued from the idea of art, right?
right.
Yes. I
Because
lost my
at this
thread.
point,
Sorry, I lost my thread. Can you just connect back to this?
yeah,
This
please.
thing of the term, this refractive surface. Now this again, I am very careful about the language actually. Yeah? So this term, we are in a danger of getting stuck with the term called refractive surface. Hello.
Yeah.
we're listening.
Yeah, and
Yeah. So they are constantly keep getting connection. So the term refractive surface may not be about the refractive surface actually. It's basically the reflections which are coming from different dimensions of life. Now literally this refractive surface actually at one point can be very glossy. It can actually hide something from our gaze. But to actually penetrate the term itself is very important here. So the refractive surface is a good term for us to work, but this can be only working term. We have to go a little bit deeper. I mean, are you connected?
Yeah, please. Neo, your connection is breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, my
You're
only
saying.
idea is because we have one thing is we have language, right? Other thing is
Yeah.
that what's going on. So the term refractive, if for example the immediacy has given us, the discussion has given us a term called refractive surface, but we must be careful about actually deconstruction of the refractive term also, refractive surface as a term, so that we don't lose sight of the core immediacy.
Yeah, you know, so for me, those words still belong to the dictionary and not to a set of jargon which somebody has
experience.
appropriated.
Words are not experience.
No. I will not take a position against words because the text is the material and it has a very much important role in our life, the way the food has, the chair has, or even the light has. So I will not undermine the importance of the text in our life. So I will not undermine the term refractive surface even. I'm saying if we have a chair in front of us, we need to deconstruct it and look at the changing of the design of the term. So if we have arrived at a term called refractive surface, we can add something to it so that we have a future growth. That's my point. Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, in a sense, as a lab for forming different words, you know, so refractive surface is something which we can really unpack and construct, like you're saying, or deconstruct in the next study group. But in the last few minutes of this perspective studies, the construct, would anyone want to add anything so that before we conclude, so that would any of you like to add something?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, sorry, Indra, I'll just be very quick. I felt like I would find perspectives very different from my own, but I was pleasantly surprised to find very similar perspectives. That's all I have to say.
I think the
Right.
death of the self is immediacy. Once we escape ourselves, we are in the moment of immediacy. I
Right.
don't know.
Would you
it must be
would
too
you like to
far-fetched.
would you like to add something to our the before we pass on from the construct of the perspective? Would you like to add something to that, Nu?
Before we, sorry.
Just conclude perspective studies as a connection, as an idea, and because today is the last day of the study group, and we are we are nearly done with the broadcast time. So I'm just checking if you want to add something.
Well, that's all I could think of. Is that in order to be in the immediate or the moment, one has to get out of oneself, basically.
Right. So you are saying that the ability to switch is the most.
Is the immediate, yeah.
Right. Is the. Inder, would you like to add something?
I want to create kind of a linkage or kind of an amalgamation between, let us say, the idea of love and the idea of perspective, so that we're constantly moving at one end, like a pilgrims to our own inner dimensions of understanding of beauty and the unraveling of the self in a very strange, bizarre way. But on the other side, of the materialism, when we talk about the perspectives, that the endless this refractive surfaces and are constantly challenging us, which is dotted with the other everywhere. So the two ends of this being, where love is at the one end and where the refractive surface is on the other end, definitely makes an interesting perspective for all of us, I think.
Right, Uttam, any closing comments on perspective before we wrap the session?
I think I typed my comments because it's making me laugh.
Oh, read it out loud because I'm on the phone. I can't read your comments. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Uttam, please read it out loud.
Yeah, so in my opinion, being immediate is being willing to throw some light into your holes. Like how we define self as an envelope with lot of holes. Being immediate is being willing to throw some light or into your holes. That's what I feel.
Right. So
Where
thanks everyone for being part of the day 15 broadcast of Perspective Studies, and I hope you join us again for the Refractive Studies group once we announce it. Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah.
so much,
Thank you,
Pras.
Good night.
Thanks
Thanks a
everyone. It
lot.
was wonderful talking to you.
Likewise,
Yeah,
great
same here.
fun. We should have
Yeah.
this more often, Prayas.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry
Yeah.
for some problematic connection, but all the very best. Thanks
Yes.
a lot.
Thanks,
Inder,
Inder. Thanks, Inder, for
thank you
joining
to
in.
the dogs around you for their active participation today.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Now,
Thank you.
my dogs are all